Ladies and gentlemen, and variations thereof, thank you for. I completely screwed this up.
Yes,
welcome
yes,
to the
you
welcome to the Selectives Lorecast, a still casual Elder Scrolls podcast. My name is Rotten Deadite. With me today are
Felix, also known as Banu Hanamasashi.
I'm James, also known as Aramithius.
And I'm Cells, also known as Cells.
and today we're still not done talking about the 36 Lessons of Vivec. We're talking about Sermon 0, which was posted to, I think, the official Bethesda forums sometime around March 2022 in character as a Khajiit trader named Jobasha. It purports to be one of the 36 Lessons of Vivec, and it's relevant because it's odd.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because that makes them so unique, right?
Yeah.
Only one of them is odd.
A little bit. I think I remember reading something somewhere about this being kind of like a sort of like an inside sort of like kind of like Douglas Goodall kind of like I want to say like harmlessly teasing Kirkbride, sort of just brother, like a friendly sort of making fun of each other. And but like the it's so odd it loops the other 36 lessons back to being normal. It's not that odd.
Stairs and pomegranate banquet.
Yeah,
we'll see what we can make of that one.
One of the one of the interesting things about this is that the Sermon 0 is not like necessarily required to read if you are trying to understand the 36 lessons. It's very much sort of just tacked onto it. It's not hugely relevant, but it is kind of considered to be part of. Some people consider it to be part of the corpus. Oh, that's a loaded word for Morrowind players.
Yes.
part of the body of work.
Corpus, not corpus.
Yeah.
But it's also one of the ones that doesn't really get discussed that often.
Yes.
It's one of the ones that's kind of just scuttles into the background and doesn't seem to be at all controversial, even when people start talking about metaphysics or out-of-game lore or anything like that. Mostly because Kirkbride wasn't the one behind it. I think that's probably the main reason.
Yeah, and it does reinforce a number of ideas that the 36 Lessons also puts forward. And it also kind of sounds a little bit like a conspiracy theory at points. So.
Oh, yes.
So, like, the way I've always interpreted it is that it's kind of like the middle child of the sermons. The original 36 lessons, they're the oldest. And
37's a new
37,
kid,
which got like all the attention because people were like, "Wait, what the fuck is this shit?"
It's new,
and it's like it made Coda canon. It acknowledged Coda, world without will, like and we're like, "Oh, okay, all right." And then this was just like, "Yeah, hi, I'm also one of the kids, but I'm just kind of gonna be in my room playing Nintendo." Like,
I'm over here. I have secret messages. Whatever.
Basically, yeah. So that's usually the vibe I've gotten from Sermon 0. Not that it's bad or revolutionary or normal. Like it's still it does read like a lesson or sermon, but I've just always viewed them as like these were 3 things released at 3 different times, and so they're basically like 3 children. And while it's technically the youngest, it's treated as like the middle child.
I feel like they have different teasing zeitgeists, those 2 guys. Yeah, a little bit.
I've got a question.
Shoot.
I'm looking at the interview from Douglas Goodall that's in the Imperial Library, and he says, "I wrote it as a kind of Me Too after reading the 36 sermons. It was a tribute and a refutation." So the word refutation, is there a different perspective here? Is this, is this Vivec, or is it common agreement that it's somebody else who wrote this?
It's probably somebody else, but I think what Douglas Goodall is suggesting is the phrase that they were passing around a lot in the writers group at Bethesda, which was contradiction is confirmation. So so for anything to be true in the Elder Scrolls universe, somebody else has to say, no, that never happened. This happened instead.
Yeah,
and then it's something you can start to think seriously about. Like once somebody argues about it, then it can be a thing.
And also when you get to the secret messages as well, that's the most explicit refutation for me.
Yeah.
Because that's where the conversation between this and the 36 lessons starts to happen in earnest, if you think about it in that way.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
okay,
think
that's fair.
perspective is everything in Elder Scrolls. So if you
Mhm.
can't get 2 sides or 3 sides of it, then you don't know what it is.
He
By the
did
way,
write it
Zels, can I
around.
just say it's very odd that your avatar is not moving, but only the lips are.
Sorry. Sorry.
Like, I don't know if that's the thing, but it's just like it just felt like so robotic. I was like, oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still had the camera pointing to the keyboard, and so it wasn't actually looking at me.
Ah, there we go.
Owain, just to clarify, this wasn't written around the time of the Me Too social movement. This was quite a way before that.
Mhm.
It's just the kind of the idea of Me Too, Me Too, Me Too
Yeah.
kind of thing is
Mhm.
what he's aiming for there. It's
Oh, I didn't even
It's-
think about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
no.
So Sermon Zero starts, "This is the truth of Sermon Zero, which is neither one." So already we're off to a good one.
All right.
So this could be as simple as a play on words. Neither one could be zero. Neither one or the other. So it could be talking about yes, Felix.
No,
neither a
that's
truth
me
or a
giving like
sermon.
foreshadowing. Please continue. I'll
Yeah.
Or
I'll
is
add what I want to add after.
It's
Neither
neither
a
truth
sermon nor zero.
Right.
or truth.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah,
neither a
well,
sermon nor truth.
I've always wondered about that.
Yeah.
Neither one could be neither negative nor positive, which means right away, which means it's not the imaginary number I, the square root the square root of -1, which is kind of a mathematical form of chim. So he's saying it's not chim. Okay.
Oh.
Or he's saying it is.
Okay, come on, Felix. Spit it out.
Yeah.
Stop sniggering and give us what you're saying, damn it.
Okay, so why I love this opening is that it's all of these. It's about like binary, it's about chim, it's about anti-chim, not the one. So like you could say it's -1, you could interpret that as both the zero and the one, the wheel and the tower. You could interpret the zero as like the dot or the eye above the tower that's representing the stone, secret letter of God. Like in this one fucking opening sentence, it kind of encompasses everything, and how you choose to interpret it is in no way correct or incorrect. And that's why I love it, but also why it's so fucking infuriating.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, take from this whatever you want. And I'm like, okay, listen here, you little shit.
This cast is going really great, and everything will keep going great so long as Ursa Doom doesn't show up late.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh well.
What have you done?
Now we're dead. All right.
Terrible.
So, but this is like one of my favorite kinds of sentences that you get in Elder Scrolls lore, because like Felix says, you can interpret it a whole bunch of different ways, and none of them are really obviously better or worse, and that's fun. That's is the brilliance of the writer's craft or the brilliance of the reader's Rorschach.
Yeah. Oh, that's the one thing that Ursa has missed that is important that we should shout out again is that there is an actual prize going on for winning the bingo this time round.
Whoever wins bingo gets a t-shirt.
Owain is producing a t-shirt. So can someone sling up the bingo and get tracking? There is reason to in this one. Yep. I have no idea whether
there's something on the line. This time,
I'm assuming hosts here are discouraged from bingo, because then we could be like, oh yeah, I gotta mention this in order to get bingo, and suddenly it's like, hey, so like
Harry
it has
Potter.
no relevance. But let me just mention like Jungian and Kantian psychology real quick. Like,
do those count?
No. Let's see. He was born a poor Netchman, but rich in his wife and wisdom. Eternal are their names, mother and father of Vec, Berezek and Indri. So this is great. Now we have the names of the mother and father of Vivec. And while this has never been confirmed or denied anywhere else, so therefore, is it true? Who knows? It's nice to kind of have another little sort of like, bit of light into the prehistory of Vivec. It's a t-shirt of Diveth Fear slogan we came up with earlier in chat. Oh, okay, great.
Okay.
Oh, awesome.
Yes.
Dating myself worse than Diveth Fear. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a pretty great line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to keep that.
Mandrakurith, welcome to the live chat. It's good to have you with us. We'll try
It's
and live up to those grand expectations. And
It's a
Oh God, no. We have to kill that in the cradle,
Yeah.
right?
it's a major life event if absolutely nothing interesting happens to you for the rest of your life, which I hope is not the case.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
but it's talking about he. Yeah,
it's using a masculine pronoun for Vivec. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I mean, Vivec uses in the 36 lessons, so it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Eternal are their names. I don't know if I would say that since we never hear about their names from anywhere else. If you Google the names, I think you might end up with a post an Apocrypha post I made on Reddit about Vivec's birth certificate, which was part of a series of like documents recovered from Vivec, the city, after the Bardau dropped, and that was just me sort of like goofing off. I don't think I made it with the intention of being taken seriously by anybody, but best of my knowledge, that other than that, you'll just hear those names will come up when people are talking about this sermon specifically. So.
Yeah, although there is one other possible spin you can have on it. The idea of this is somewhere in the Bible. I can't remember whether you'd call it, whether it's something that's, I want to say in Paul's letters is where my go-to would be. It talks about what's seen is temporary and what is invisible is eternal. So if their names are not spoken anywhere, if they're never mentioned, then they are eternal by that sort of definition, which is a very obscure reference, and I'm not sure that it's quite what's meant, but it's one way of looking at it.
That is fascinating.
Yeah. I will have to dig that up while I get moments, just so I can purely know for my own reference, and I will suddenly interrupt everything when I found it, as is my wont.
Good. So, generous silver chalice, sword in the clouds, dying radiant lady star, excuse me. He entered the temple, passed the seven veils, beheld his wife Berazik. Oh, the word, the deed, the end inevitable. Oh, so generous silver chalice, sword in the clouds, dying radiant lady star.
That's the good Daedra, right?
Yes, I want to say yes, but
generous silver chalice would be. I don't think that's the good Daedra. Hints to Magna Gay. Yeah, you could be right. Dying Radiant Lady Star could be Magna Gay. Yeah.
But wait, like, isn't there like one of the Aedra, their like aspect or totem is like a silver chalice. I can't remember which one it is though.
Oh.
Is Google gonna fuck me on this, or let's see?
I mean, it's Google, and these days it's shit. So yeah, probably.
There's a silver gauntlet from Dawnguard.
No,
Owain is correct. The new Daedric Prince of Thalia is
is it
Magna Gay? Yeah.
Oh, this is way pre that. Yeah. Isgrimor had a silver chalice in ESO.
Yeah. I was more thinking the idea of sword in the clouds, because that Boethia being connected with violence, and the upper airs are
Vivec's realm.
Not Vivec's realm. No, Vivec is middle air. The upper air is Almalexia, and she's tied to Boethia.
Oh, you're suggesting the clouds are part of the upper air. I think
possibly not. Clouds were probably closer to middle. Now you say
that. Because I'm thinking Almalexia is the stars.
Yes.
Vivec would be the clouds and what we would call middle air. Okay. Sword in the clouds. All right. So generous silver chalice is so a silver chalice. First thing that comes to mind is the Grail, which is not appropriate for this, I don't think. But it could be a receptacle. This could be as simple as the author listing off feminine concepts, feminine symbolism. Dying Radiant Lady Star, Sword in the Clouds smells masculine to me, but I don't.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yes, particularly if you look at certain strands of neo-paganism, and some of the symbols that they will have is the sword or athame, and a chalice explicitly being male female things in some rituals.
Well, this does seem to be a marriage ritual being described here, and we'll get into why in a minute.
But there's 3 parts as opposed to 2 in this description. So,
and it says that so what we could be talking about here is generous silver chalice could be the offering point. Sword in the clouds could be the masculine element. Dying radiant lady star could be the feminine element. And so the 3 of them together could be forming an antiomorph. Yeah. It's tough, and I'm definitely not going to suggest that I have Sermon Zero figured out line per word or anything like that. But I didn't claim that shit for anything I do. So don't. Hey man, get off my back. Hey buddy. Hey, get off my back. All right. So Goodall, what about him? It's written by Goodall. Yes. Masculine, feminine. Who all could that apply to? Yeah, that's kind of where I'm coming from here. Like, there's a lot of sword on the cloud. Of course.
Yeah, I like the tarot.
I was about to. Like, literally occurred to me tarot, and then somebody brought it up in the chat. So there are there's swords, cups, wands, and help.
Pentacles, which
Pentacles.
Is the dying radiant lady star.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That also could be seen as the star major arcana.
Okay, sure. Yeah, major arcana, right.
Or maybe temperance.
Generous silver chalice could, well, the cups in... Aha! All right, let's see. Where's the worker? You guys take up, like, discuss amongst yourselves. The last sentence. The word, the deed, the end inevitable O.
Yeah.
So that's the O, right? I mean, it's a marriage night, so
it's an orgasm. Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah.
I was hoping that wasn't going to take us a long time.
Yeah.
With sexual content in the Elder Scrolls, we snap that up. That being said, though, I found out which Aedra it was that, like, I was associating with the chalice. It wasn't silver, though, so probably has absolutely nothing to do with it. But in Oblivion, the, like, stained glass symbol for Stendar is a, like, golden chalice pouring out, like, wine or a liquid of some kind. So that's what I was thinking of.
Good. Yeah, I'm glad you found that, because it was going to bug me, too. There was something in my head that was like, no, chalice definitely out there somewhere.
Some motherfuckers got a chalice, but yeah,
one of them bitches got one.
it was Stendar. Not sure why he, with all his mercy and what he does, is like, oh yeah, here's a chalice, but what do I know, man? Cyrodiil just doesn't make sense. So
cup.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still so mad. Like, I loved Oblivion, but I'm still just so mad about how, like, going around, it was kind of more like, yes, all the cities have, like, influences from other provinces. And then it's like, there's no clear distinction between Cyrodiil and Nibene. And I'm like, okay, that's depressing. So,
There were several things that bugged me about Oblivion, but that was not one of them.
Okay, well,
I hadn't even thought about it until right now. Now that you say
it annoys me.
Yeah, I can see it now.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, the city of Anvil with like architecture from neighboring Hammerfell. Bruma has, very much a Nordic inspiration, so it's more like Skyrim. Chainel has Dunmer inspiration. I'm just like, okay. And like, and down here on, like, Leeuwin or Breville or whatever is like neighboring, look at all the people with tails we got living down here. And I'm like, cool. Where's my, like, weird Nibene swamp monks? I would like more of that. It's like you get a single priory and a couple alien ruins. I'm like, man, fuck you. So
yeah. Cups apparently seem to 9 times out of 10 in the tarot seem to represent some kind of emotional intelligence or loyalty or love or something like.
Yeah.
I need to parse this a little bit more heavily, because I can't really find what I'm looking for immediately in it. and it also looks like the actual those four symbols of the suits change, that like their meaning changes depending on which card they're being mentioned in, and
Yeah.
But that seems to be the overall
healing subconscious thoughts as well. With the cups.
Clergy and spirituality. Great. Okay, well clergy and spirituality could be the priest who's, presiding over the wedding. Who wants to think about what is the temple and the seven veils is that a euphemism or a metaphor, or are we talking about an actual temple with 7 gateways?
It's a reference to the Faith of the Seven in George R.R. Martin's series, whatever, Song of Ice and Fire. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anybody with good ideas?
That's totally what that is.
I think this is euphemism. I do like the idea that the chalice, the sword, and whatever the dying radiant Lady Star are 3 things that happen during the marriage ritual.
Mm-hmm.
I know some marriage rituals each have like a cup of wine or something, and they pour it into one cup, and then they drink from that one cup. But so yeah, I think that entering the temple is, the body is a temple.
We're suggesting that the 7 veils might be a dance.
There is a dance that is.
There is a dance called the Dance of 7 Veils. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to also thinking like Elder Scrolls terms of like what are other instances where 7 has been like the right number and nothing is immediately coming to mind.
The Flex player is pointing out that the good and bad Daedra are 7.
Okay, well, 7 as in like the 3 good Daedra and the 4 corners of the House of Troubles.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The Dance of the 7 Veils is a striptease. It's not but it doesn't go completely nude, but yeah.
So what's the point?
So she asked of him truths beyond words, and he answered without words, but added incompletion. There is nothing beyond bliss. After death comes the void. Only then are we free to love. Figuring Father Periite would stamp it and catalog it, and Mephala Mother, embracing with black hands, would smother it. Gods such as us must be gentle with all our children, both flesh and spirit, a seed apple potpourri. Okay,
James has thoughts.
Yeah. So one thing I want to jump on top of this for is this. Okay, so the beginning of the 36 Lessons says he was born in the ash among the Valathi before the war with the Northern Men, and that it is mentioned. Is it in the 36 Lessons that his father is his father is a Nechaman.
It's a Nechaman.
Yes.
But there isn't any. So this is all sort of, I am American, so can you, kind of like, hey, this is like we're Vivec was an average Joe before they became a god, that kind of stuff. But it does stand to reason that the Dunmer would start to worship the parents of Vivec in the same way that Jesus, in the same way that Christians worship Mary and Joseph.
Even more so, frankly, because they already had a culture of ancestor worship.
Yeah.
Right, yes. So, excellent point.
Yeah, very true, yes.
So the idea that a sermon exists that deifies names Berazik and Irdri doesn't shock me at all. Were they actual gods? I mean, signs indicate no.
Yeah.
But we don't. But they
were the parents of a god.
They were the parents of a god, and the idea of the Dunmer creating or fucking Vivec creating a deification of them makes a lot of sense to me. And so having the two of them refer to each other as gods in this doesn't surprise me at all.
I would argue with that, because the body of the 36 Lessons, the events that sort of happened to the Nechaman's wife and the deconstruction, and the way that the father isn't mentioned at all, Vivec is going out of her way to erase her parents.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
it's like
the
they
idea
do
that
not matter. Only I matter.
so the
Yeah,
idea
and
that
that's one of the
they were
things
mentioned at
that's-
all means it was probably mentioned by the Dunmer and not Vivec.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is sort of, if this is doing something about Vivek's parents, I imagine it's a heresy in the truest sense of the word, in that they will claim to be a part of the temple while expressing some sort of heterodox belief. Or I don't know. I've just had this sudden question that's just sort of bugged me about religions in general as to which ones are orthodoxic and which are orthopraxic.
Right.
And whether whether the tribunal temple is orthodoxic or orthopraxic.
I don't know what
I mean.
like orthopraxic means.
Orthodoxy is correct belief.
I know what orthodoxy means, so that's why I was asking about
orthopraxy is correct action. So it doesn't matter what
like
stories.
praxis.
Yes. And so that's more or less how they understand how ancient pagan worship used to work. The idea that it didn't really matter what stories you believed about Odin or Thor or whatever, just so long as you did the right things to appease them, the actual stories didn't matter. And exactly what form they took, all the rest of it, didn't really matter, just so long as you did so long as you did the things that made them happy.
On a related note, and while I have your attention, we're kind of on this sort of subject. I've never fully understood the distinction between orthodoxy and heterodoxy. Could you potentially enlighten us on that?
Yeah, heterodoxy is believing something different. Heterodoxy and heresy are more or less the same thing.
Okay, all right.
Well, heterodox is believing something contrary to the established correct belief.
Okay.
Heresy is a heterodox belief expressed, a heterodox belief where where the believers consider themselves to still be part of the original faith. So, so for example, Protestants are considered heretics in traditional Catholic thought because they believe that that the church does not have the same level of authority as Scripture, but Protestants will still claim to be Christian. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that does. Thank you. I appreciate that.
So when Vivek's father, Berazik, says there is nothing beyond bliss, after death comes the void. So this might, I don't know if this was written before or after the love letter from the Fifth Era. So before, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was before. So let's assume that it was before, and then therefore let's assume that after death comes the void is oblivion.
Or just the void in terms of Anu and Padme's void.
Oh, right. Okay.
Or just nothingness.
Yeah.
But then he says, only then are we free to love.
It's sort of a nod to the idea of Crowleyan love, if you can put it that way, because it's a total separation from everything. Therefore, you have no concerns, you have no attachments. Therefore, you will act as you will.
Yeah. IFW, figuring Father Perriette would stamp it and catalog it. This is the idea of IFW has and he was typing it while I was saying it. The figuring Father alludes to him being a death god as part of his sphere of natural order. Right. Perriette, being a god of population control, works alongside Mephala, writes the writs of assassination, the murder mother who fulfills the act of damnation and surrenders the soul from the body. Basically, death and taxes. Yeah, and Perriette being kind of like the taskmaster, the guy who sits behind the desk and files all the paperwork for everybody. Is kind of the I like thinking of Perriette as being like one of the Daedric gods who is actually keeping shit working. Like all the other gods are dicking around, drinking themselves, driving people crazy, all that kind of stuff. But Perriette's the one who's like, he knows the second I stop doing my job, everything's going to go to shit.
I think that's also why he chooses the form of a dragon, because like Akatosh ain't shit. Talking about all this time, I'm the one actually making this work.
Yeah, Akatosh might say that he's in charge, but I'm the guy who's taking your garbage out.
Yeah.
Periite is the key
and doing your
worker of
dishes.
Oblivion.
Yeah.
Daedric Union now.
Yeah, that's right, baby.
But like on that kind of related note about Periite Crowley, like the Taskmaster, it's just yet another instance of like what even really is the point of RK at this point? Like,
well, yeah.
Between all these other
I
gods,
agree.
like death and shuttling and ferryman and necromancy, it's like RK, either you have no fucking purpose or you have seriously dropped the ball. Like that's I got nothing but bad things to say about RK at this point, not gonna lie.
Well, the other problem is that there's not going to be the first time or the last time there's been a serious amount of overlap with gods in the Elder Scrolls universe. So
yeah.
True enough.
Periite is
like
the brain
Aedra
the dog
sometimes
yeah.
double over on purpose because they're trying to take over other pantheons, kind
of.
Which brings us back to Catholicism and saints.
Yeah.
That's a subject for another time.
So Mephala mother embracing black hands would smother it, because that's how she do. Gods such as us must be gentle with all our children, both flesh and spirit, a seed apple potpourri.
Oh no! What's Periite and Mephala what they are is just are ways that the gods are incorrectly handling love.
Right.
That's what that is. Sorry,
yes.
I just thought I wanted to re-emphasize
to summarize it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So gods such as us must be gentle with all our children. In other words, love them properly.
Yeah.
Both flesh and spirit, a seed apple potpourri. So flesh and spirit are a seed apple potpourri. Okay, what's a seed apple? Seed dash apple. Is it a seed dash apple or is it apples and seeds?
Oh god, I genuinely don't know. Because like I've thought of this before, and I'm like, is this just the author trying to think like, now this sounds appropriately MK like, or is it like actually, unfortunately, brimming with meaning? And like, then I start thinking about, okay, so like seed apple, we're talking about seeds and like, Johnny Appleseed / the idea of what came first, the chicken or the egg, what came first, the seed or the apple. Fruits, as we've discussed like in several episodes at this point over the many years, fruits are often associated with fertility and life cycles, and so the consumption of which is like a representation of consuming life or immortality, wisdom, knowledge, giving into temptation. Like fruits are brimming with symbolism, and so it's like, okay, am I supposed to think about that? Like a seed apple, is that like, planting the start of, the tree of wisdom that grows? Or are we like thinking about this in not quite the right way and it needs to be a little more sexual in terms of like the seed apple is like the seed that will allow the apple to grow and blossom. So it's about like impregnation and new life. Like I genuinely don't know. There's too many goddamn ways to interpret seed apple.
I always wondered if it was a reference to pomegranate.
That too. See, like this is a fucking problem with the sermon.
Well, Joe Basha, or good all in character, pops back in as a comment. In where was this? This was in the Forum Scholars Guild.
Oh yeah.
Where he says, Jobasha reminds you of the green-yellow generations, the seed apples, the significant form of Jobasha's good friend Cherim.
Can you say that again?
Cherim.
Yeah.
Oh,
Cherim's Heart, which is in Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind.
That's Chimovidium, isn't it?
Not sure. But to read it again, Jobasha reminds you of the green-yellow generations, seed apples, the significant form of Jobasha's good friend Cherim.
Green yellow is a reference to Meridia somewhere. That's that's something that's used to. I can't remember where I saw it in this text, I think, or in one of the interviews with Goodall.
There's Cherim's Heart is a book in Elder Scrolls 5. By the look of it, but
it's about seed apples, folks. I'm not fooling around.
The way that I just before we go down that particular rabbit hole, But it's saying that we should be gentle with our children, both flesh and spirit. So children of the flesh and children of the spirit.
Hey, Baka.
So this is going into the idea of children of the flesh is natural children. Children of the spirit tends to be people who sort of follow after you in your ways of thought, people you've taught, those sorts of things. And so the way I sort of read that is I read that as kind of seed and apple. The idea of if we're talking about a dichotomy between flesh and spirit, then I would still read seed and apple as opposites in how to think about that. Just saying you've got to worry about both because you're being gentle with all types of children that you ever have. And that's not just the physical type as well.
Yeah, it's also, but a potpourri would be like a mix.
Yeah, it's a mixture of your natural children and your intellectual, spiritual children.
Guess the parents are gods by proxy to Vivec, gods through parenthood. That is, yeah, could have been, but the problem is the beginning of the 36 lessons on the whole kind of seems to say otherwise, that Vivec's trying to erase them. Soul as seed and body as apple. That was sort of where I was going. That's that to put it in a tiny little package. So good lord, I'm looking at commentaries and I was like, Jesus, this is long. No, it's not. It's fine. On that night, Berizik named her children, but did not know their sum.
That's almost just a mirror of Vivec's children, because Vivec does all sorts of things to her children, and also names them all, and thereby puts limits on them. And again, this is also a contradiction, because if you name them, you limit them, you define them.
Theoretically,
but you also do not know their sum, means that you do not know the extent of them, which means they are in some way limitless.
So what I think is being described here is the religious procedure, the Dunmer religious procedure for ensuring fertility. So they go to a temple, they do certain rites, they do certain prayers, they offer each other things, and then and then this is going to guarantee fertility, so that the Dunmer wife can then set out a set of names that she will give to her children, depending on how many she has. And you see, she lists what looks like 4 names here: Dreams of Peasants, A Netraman's Dream, Erdri, Lafem, Vec, Hikura. I suspect that these are 4 possible names for children that Berizik has declared. And when Vivec is born, Vivec gets that name, but it does suggest the possibility that what if Vivec had siblings?
Yeah.
I don't think we hear about any of that, but it entertains the possibility that Vivec's parents were entertaining the possibility of siblings. Perhaps that's Dunmer custom, is that you name your children before they're born.
Felix is also pointing out that Halafem is an anagram of Mephala.
Oh, hey, I didn't catch that. Nice.
And then by the same token, then is the last one a reference to RK?
Could be.
Well, it's not quite.
Got an R and a K.
It's not quite.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not exact.
Yeah.
But Eardry backwards is Eardry.
Yeah, it's a palindrome.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I don't know if the palindrome is part of a puzzle somewhere.
Ooh, unlocking new mysteries. Fun/dark thought. What if it's like certain species of shark where they're all born in the womb and then only the single strongest survives and is born?
Is that how Dunmer? Maybe. Yeah.
It's the Dunmer.
That's going to be my headcanon from now on. Thank you, Felix. I'm
equals
keeping that forever.
Or
Coda makes that canon.
ORKYH or Kai. Yeah, that does kind of work a little, Felix. Yeah. In chat,
Tuatha
Felix.
Like
is
Orky,
a
that does work.
Orke.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds very Maomer, yeah.
Wow. I did not realize that them fighting in the womb was actual Dungeons and Dragons Dark Elf lore. Thanks, IFW.
Oh, is it? Oh, well, okay. That actually kind of increases the possibility that that's what we're talking about here, because the Dunmer do take a lot of inspiration from Dark Elves in D&D. So maybe that was in Goodall's mind when he came up with that. By the way, does anybody need to? Do I need to mention Dune for anybody on bingo? Or let's see, we already mentioned Harry Potter once. So
we're not supposed to be helping people win.
Yeah, I'm not helping anything like that.
Bingo,
I'm just thinking it would be.
Naturally.
I don't want this episode to have a bad ending like most Star Wars movies. So let's see.
Now I have to know which ones you think are
cheesy?
bad.
I don't know.
Silence is the command of the Aedra, the howling horror in the cavern of the heart. The laughter of Berazik. Do we need to go into this? That's, I mean, the howling horror in the cavern of the heart. That's Lorcan.
Yes.
And a great way to put it, I think.
For me, the howling horror was Numidium. The heart is Lorcan.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of like to think of Lorcan as being terrifying in a sort of outer god kind of way, but yeah, Lorcan.
I mean, I can
That's how it's
see
pronounced.
That too,
I don't make that up.
But I don't know. I just
Heart, also the shadow. Oh yeah, it could be in the cavern of the heart is also the shadow. Yeah, it could be much more metaphorical than that. Yeah. Inside Numidium are two wolves. All right, cut it out. Okay. The laughter
one is a
Berazik.
Dwemer, the other is Sothasil.
Okay. They're howling at the moon is the idea here. It's the three. Was it 3 wolf T-shirt or something like 3 wolf moon? Something 2 wolf moon.
Right.
Nocturnal's black skies. Periite's golden order. Periite has a golden order.
He does order the lower orders of lower ranks of Oblivion. So.
Yeah, but fuck that. What about Duke Leader II's golden plan? What if Periite is planning? What if Periite is planning out? Yeah, IFW's with me on this.
Yeah.
Well, of course he would be. He's like the biggest Periite fanboy.
Yeah, it's. I don't see whether Periite has enough purchase within major events of the Arabis to actually be trying to achieve any sort of golden path. Just to sort of fill you in, because I think Zell's is possibly not knowing, and for anyone else who doesn't, the golden
Yes, I don't.
The golden path is a thing that was charted out in theory by Muad'Dib, but he just didn't have the guts to go through with it.
Yeah.
But also his son did that needed to chart a very specific course for humanity over the stretches of thousands
millennia
of years, in order for humanity to survive,
to survive an unknown threat that would arrive in the future that we don't really get to find out what it is, but it seems like we do if you accept non-Frank Herbert writing, but it seems like Frank Herbert intended it to be the return of the AI from the corners of the universe, but
the thinking machines.
Yeah, the thinking machines.
Okay.
But here's the thing. Periite's Golden Order, Meridia's Green Generations. Remember we were talking earlier about the Seed Apple and Green Generations. That's yet another Meridia connection.
Before we move on too far from Periite, IFW does have the point that Periite is also nearly Pyrite, which is Fool's Gold.
Okay,
So, Periite being associated.
This is why we
with
love you, IFW.
Yes.
Yep. I'm just thinking giant communist robots from outer space, and
I hate to break it to you, but the whole Butlerian jihad thing was not actually, at least in its original conception, wasn't meant to be a Terminator-esque war against the AI, because it was a nod to Erewhon, which is a book by Samuel Butler, that talks about a scientist who predicted that AI was going to take over the world and destroy things, that machines would get all horrible, but they don't. His works inspires essentially a Luddite movement that rises up and just destroys everything
and destroys them before they get the chance.
Yeah.
So maybe the Butlerian, that's what you're saying, is the Butlerian Jihad was not a rebellion against robots taking over. It was religious fervor. Oh, that makes sense, because in Herbert's books, he talks about how the Butlerian Jihad was fucking horrible, but he doesn't really go into why in any specificity. And and I agree that makes it very possible that they never actually, there was never a war to fight. It was just people went insane and started destroying thinking machines because... Yeah.
And then Brian totally missed the reference.
That's pretty good. I like that. That seems more like Frank Herbert's ridiculous amounts of pessimism.
It's just reading more of that. It's like, like future is bleak, and like it requires
don't watch Rebel Moon.
Strong men to lead us. I'm like, I don't know about that one there, Chief.
Was Rebel Moon not good? Because I was hoping it was going to be good.
Well, in fairness, you get to later on in Frank Herbert's books, and he gets horrific ideas about how the orgasm is somehow some dreadful super weapon to be feared.
Yeah.
But
hey man, there's a lot of sci-fi guys out there who were writing books while they were trying to work out their kinks, and that's just
a little bit.
Yeah.
So anyway,
the Benny Gesserit voice is really just someone's dummy mommy kink.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's why everybody likes Benny Gesserit so much. So Meridia's green generations, Mehrunes red rage, obvious enough. The size of Berezik. The laughter of Berezik is also mentioned.
Is Meridia associated with green anywhere else? Because it's one of those sort of...
Usually prism is what they talk about with her. Or
well,
golden. Because
for me, I always thought like Meridia, whose hood is under the black block. So
yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
Whose head is under the black block?
That's one of the pocket guard invocations, yes?
Yeah, well, no, that's from the Magna Gee, isn't it? Is it, or is it not? That might be the pocket guide. Yeah,
I don't remember that.
Yeah,
it has that sort of cadence.
Yeah,
there's
Heinlein, thank you, Torter. Yeah, Heinlein.
New Magna Gee information in one of the books in the prologue, in the Gold Road prologue.
Okay.
Well, anyway, her diamonds and crescents, a crimson dawn over armies arrayed for battle, her dark and silent eyes blinding the snows of solitude. And why you gotta bring the fucking Nords into it, man? Her diamonds and crescents. Stars and... moon and star?
Yeah.
A crimson dawn over enemies arrayed for battle, her dark and silent eyes.
Because Nerevar was a general, the moon and star, Nerevar was a general.
Yeah, and this is about war.
Dawn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Her dark and silent eyes, the blinding snows of solitude. Yeah, this could be about the war against Nords. Many thousand millions are the visions of Vermina. Awake the first and last, the king of Ai. Why is Vermina's name spelled backwards?
Pocket guide.
Sure.
Because because Vermina is the Deirdre Prince of Nightmares, and this
invoking her name is a bad move. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but this is also, these are waking visions, not sleeping nightmares.
Okay, so waking dreams.
And,
okay.
Vision maybe on a positive thing rather than a negative thing. I like the King of Ai reminds me of the Vivec quote where in one of wherever it is that he says, "The tower is an eye."
Yeah,
that is
the only
that
name
is the
of
quote
God.
I always come back to with him.
The only name of God. Yeah.
So I do love the King of Ai as
Felix in chat also points out that that Vermin is spelled incorrectly, but that's probably a typo. Vernima? All right. Awake the first and last, the king of I. Yeah. Is this a link somewhere? Amaranth? Oh, no, I don't think this is a reference to Amaranth here. Yeah, the king of I is probably a reference to God. The first and last letter of the word of God. The thing is that if you dream text that's spelled backwards, it's not. Or it's not for me anyway, but text in my dreams is just indecipherable.
Y'all are seeing text in your dreams?
Yeah, sometimes I'll like try to read a sign or a clock or something like that, and it will look all just fucked. And I think there's supposed to be a neurological reason for that, but I don't know. Nechaman Indri on the next day took his wife and newfound treasure to meet the Dwarf King at the end of Bethungahur's. At the end of Dwarvish name here.
You should say like the Sardaukar.
No. So Nechaman Indri on the next day took his wife and newfound treasure. This is, I assume, his now pregnant wife. To meet Kagranak. So this is got to be at a time when the dwarves were not murdering every Dunmer they saw. Kagranak gave him a thrice secret word. Block of nonsense. Here the true key lies. Vivec is the lesser or false key. So what is in that piece of text?
I think we just lost the stream.
Did we?
Oh, no, we haven't. No, that was just me. Sorry.
Okay,
cool.
yeah.
Ignore me.
Yeah, I'm still green.
Yeah, cool.
Okay then, Meridia.
All right, so the text is, all right. In the thrice secret word, if you take the lowercase letters and read them in reverse order, you will discover a message about the Dwemer. To the Dwemer and Oblivion belong this treasure, and they are their dead. They're THERE dead. To the Dwemer and Oblivion belong this treasure. So the treasure is Vivec. So to the Dwemer and Oblivion belong this treasure, and they are their dead. I assume there's supposed to be a comment at the end of that.
So the Dwemer are in Oblivion dead? Is that what it means?
The
That's
Dwemer,
what I read.
Yeah, I think so. I think this is a little bit like a curse.
Although that would also contradict Yagran Bagan's statement, because he survived and he was in another realm, an outer realm at the time, and the outer realm is Oblivion if you go to the pocket books or pocket guides.
Yeah. So this might be something Douglas Goodall wrote back when they weren't 100% sure about things were. But the fourth secret message is found there as well. The capital letters form a Vinegar's cipher, which requires the name Vivec as its key. Vigenaire, cipher, which requires the name Vivec as its key, and that is White Gold Nech Merchants Cherem Muzaraya.
Okay.
Muzaraya is the only thing that I'm confused about there.
Have you not heard of, this is from Douglas Goodall, have you not heard of Muzaraya and her death at the hands of the three angry men? Muzaraya was Indoril by birth and a painter by choice. Her best painting lies in the cellars of the Imperial Palace by imperial decree. No one wishes to destroy such beauty, but no one wishes it to be seen. A dilemma. So that answers everything.
Sure.
Clearly we're all on the same page now.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Oh God, calm down. About the secret message, Cherem is Jobash's good friend, much shared sugar, many sands. Cherem is famous tapestry maker, puts the jakeje in every one. White gold is one of his best, one the least often seen. It shows the White Tower, a dragon spirals around it, a moth priest at the top. Very famous moment, but few men remember. So can we assume, therefore, that this is just Douglas Goodall putting in references to friends of his?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
Well, it's going to keep happening.
Yeah.
Here, the true key lies. Vivec is the lesser or false key. So everybody knows about the greater key and the lesser key of Solomon?
Not
No,
really.
I'm not familiar with that.
The key of Solomon is, or otherwise known as the greater key of Solomon, is a pseudo-biographical, okay, whatever, grimoire, a tribute to the King Solomon. It probably dates back to the 14th, 15th century Italian Renaissance. It represents a typical example of Renaissance magic. There is a greater and a lesser key.
It's part of a ritual that ceremonial magicians do on a regular basis.
Yeah. The third, the lesser key of Solomon is another grimoire. Anyway, these are two very important pieces of magic, of magical documents. They don't, to the best of my knowledge, refer to actual keys. But if anybody in chat knows more than me, which is likely, then they might.
It's a sigil.
Right. Okay. Yes. A key and a sigil. Yes. Right.
Yeah.
For the beginning was the word spoken by a great ape. It's almost certainly Maruk. Yes.
Yes.
For in the beginning was the word 3x72.
And
So what's 3x72? A great ape is a grape. Okay. All right. Okay.
We have fun here in chat.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. Well, 72 by 3 is 24, but that isn't what was asked, I suppose. Yeah. 3 by 72 is 0.0416 recurring. It's a fraction.
And 3 times 72 is 216, so that's not a thing. I don't know what this is. I've thought about this math in every way possible, and I can't come up with anything.
Okay, well, it's 216, but if you add the individual numerals, you get 9. That's something.
Okay, yeah. Could be, yeah, gematria, yeah. For the beginning was the word Om-Sivi. That's the last line. So...
Well, think about those three, because spoken by a great ape, Maruk, that's the beginnings of the Alessian Order and so on. Alm-Sivi is the beginnings, or at least the root of the Tribunal Temple. What's the 3 by 72? There is part of me that wants to say something about 9, but I don't know quite why. But
yep,
so
3, 7, and 2 all have separate meanings. Good point, Luca.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking about whether there's some other sort of religious genesis moment that's somehow relating to 3 by 72 that would possibly fill that in.
The 3 could be the good Daedra. So is there anything with Veloth that's 72 related? Were there 72 followers that left Somerset? Anything like that? Spoken by a great ape is men. If 3 by 72 refers to the good Daedra, then there's that, and then Om-Sivi takes over from there. So it's three religious orders, if that's true.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the 72 is.
Well, we can puzzle that out. But I should mention that there are 2 additional hidden messages in this. If you thought this shit wasn't dense enough, there are 2 additional messages in Sermon 0. If you take the first letter of each sentence and read them in that order, you will discover a message. The ghost of a god is no man.
That feels like a reference to Talos.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I mostly because we're mentioning gods and men and ghosts. But it is sort of lorcanic, kind of. And then if you take the last letter of each sentence and read them in reverse order, you will get Vivec committed no crime. Which, as part of the 36 lessons, this is not a new opinion.
Yeah. Well, it's a counterpoint.
7 towers is 8 towers.
Well, if you think about...
Yeah. 8 spokes, 8 towers.
Oh, 8 races.
Yeah,
Yeah.
8 races.
If you think about the secret message from the 36
216 is 36 squared.
Ha.
Hey, okay.
I like that.
Yeah. 36 squared, I buy.
If it is a refutation, then Vivec committed no crime is the counter to, you know.
Yeah, so Vivec murdered the Hortator.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, by the way, 72 divided by 9 is 8. So like you can interpret that also with like, 8 races, 8 towers.
Sure. Yeah.
Among like the 9 divines and the hub that is Talos. And then shit, what was the other thing that I had? Fuck, I lost it. My bad, everybody.
Yeah. Happens.
Yeah, well, numerology in the 36 lessons is tough. it doesn't hold up very easily.
No.
But it's also any god is a criminal from almost any religion or mythology unless you give them the god pass. Yeah.
That's totally fair.
Good point.
Yes.
All this is above my pay grade.
Wait, we're getting paid for this? That's news to me.
Yeah, I don't wish somebody had told me. I'll have to check my account.
Yep.
So, one of the reasons why Sermon Zero exists, according to Douglas Goodall, is as a refutation of the 36 lessons. It's supposed to be, again, we have contradiction is confirmation. So, unless there's another document saying that the 36 lessons is wrong, then the 36 lessons can't be right. Yeah. So that's kind of, I think, why Sermon Zero needs to be relevant, because it's the document that says the hidden messages in the 36 lessons are horseshit. Vivec is absolutely a god. Vivec did nothing wrong. Magnus did nothing wrong. I mean, there's your 40K reference. The negative first sermon of Vivec. Yeah, maybe. Stop while murdering yourself. But that's really pretty much all I have to say about this sermon. I think that's pretty much all that's relevant. I'm a little disappointed nobody's won bingo yet. What the fuck is left? We already mentioned Jung. Get the lead out, people.
Yeah. We did mention various things about as I say, with
we mentioned towers,
the howling horror and the self and so on, but
we mentioned Harry Potter. We mentioned the 6 Walking Ways a million times. Did we? No, we didn't. We didn't mention this.
No, we didn't.
Yeah. Okay.
There was some chatter about ruling kings, but nothing distinct about the Walking Ways. Yeah,
of course you checked off dick jokes. I did have an intro order, so I did fuck that up. We did mention the Imperial Library, which is indirectly run by Lady Nerevar, so maybe you've got that spot. Something.
Although Benefactor seems to be doing a lot more there now than she is, at least
that's
actively.
What I hear.
Everyone's just kind of like sleeping and waiting until Elder Scrolls 6 comes out.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of the the thing about we don't have Lawrence Schick writing Elder Scrolls lore anymore. This new guy, Todd Howard's not doing anything. The new guy who's working for Elder Scrolls Online isn't really knocking out anything amazing.
Ooh, called out.
Well, he's not. I'm sorry. Look, I'll know it when something cool slides out of that guy's head. Then I'll by all means be like all over it.
This is why they need to hire me.
I don't know who wrote the new Athelia stuff that's in the prologue, but I am really loving it. There's a retelling of the Boethia Trinimac tale. And Boethia also I think FlexPlayer got it. She retells it's the good Daedra's version of events. You get to see their side of the story for the first time, and I'm absolutely loving it. I haven't finished pulling it all apart yet, but it's really interesting.
Good. I'm glad they're coming up with something, because that you introduce a new Daedric prince, and it's going to be I don't know. That's a big opportunity, I think, for writers to just go apeshit about all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with so far what I've been digging into.
I mean, yes, okay, and that's cool, and it's yet another reason why I need to get into ESO. But I constantly just think about Jigalag, and it's like, new Daedric Prince, and it's like, cool, where's he at? And like,
yeah.
I love
do you need a laptop or something, Felix?
That's so brutal.
Do you have something to play ESO on?
I do think maybe this machine, this desktop, could run it.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't matter
I did
hardware.
buy a laptop not too long ago, but that was meant to like replace my older one, and even then it's just kind of more like, oh, if I need to take it overseas for like work or for very basic communication and streaming needs. I didn't think like I must be able to play all my favorite games in ultra 4K on this thing.
Yes, if you can't turn on all the RTX, then what's the point? Yeah.
Maybe if I won the lottery, then I'd be able to justify buying an Alienware laptop and an Alienware desktop. In the meantime, though, your boy is poor.
Are we still on? No, yeah, we do need to sign off. So what are we doing next, guys?
Well,
are we going to do some of Goodall's new stuff?
We could. There's also like, it's probably buried now, but there was that list that I shared at this point years ago of like, here's some ideas for like either minor Aedra ancestors concepts,
Vicky?
So I have screen caps of those new books from the prologue. If you would like me to post them in your Discord, then we can discuss whether or not that's something you want to talk about.
Yeah, and we also potentially, I don't know how much, we're possibly experiencing a bit of text fatigue at this point, but there's always the truth in sequence.
Oh, yes.
Oh, God. We have to do the truth in sequence. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Now we know what's next.
All right.
But then wait, did anyone win bingo? We need to have someone win bingo.
Somebody won it. Yep.
Yes, we have a bingo.
So
blessings,
truth in sequence is next.
Blessings of Anu upon thee.
We will hopefully see you guys in 2 weeks, depending on how our schedules look. Thanks very much, everybody, for showing up. Everybody, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.